So hi everyone, welcome to the Essex Sport Facebook Live page. My name's Arlene. I'm going to run a 30-minute yoga session for you today. I encourage you to have some water nearby if that feels like something you might like. Have plenty of space, yoga mat, and just work at your own pace. So just do the movements that feel nice for you today. Okay, great. So we're going to start when you're ready. Just come to a comfortable position. Good. As an option, you might come to Child's Pose to start. So if you're just coming from all fours, you just gently start to bring your bottom to your heels. Check in with how much space you'd like between your knees. So you might bring your toes towards each other, and you can very slowly start to bring your upper body down towards the floor. So just resting in Child's Pose for a few moments. So as an option, you can rest your forehead on your fists, on the ground, maybe rest here on your forearms. Check in if you have any pillows or folded up blankets nearby. You can even use those to rest your head on, or even sometimes it's nice to place a cushion or a block underneath your bottom, so wherever that's comfortable. Good. And we'll just take a few moments to turn inward here in our Child's Pose. So this is quite a nice pose to become introspective and just notice how we feel today. Just come to observe your toes, your shins, your knees, your lower back, and just check in. How do those areas feel today? Your legs. Do you feel tension? Do you feel like you're kind of gripping in a different part of your legs or your feet, or your toes? And can you just start to notice the ground below and just let your breath feel natural but relaxed? Good. Just continuing our scan, make any adjustments in your Child's Pose to feel comfortable, and notice your back, your hips, your rib cage, your chest, your shoulders. So how does your torso feel today? Do you feel tension at all? Any differences on one side to the other? But just notice the points of your body that touch the ground, perhaps in your feet or your shins. And just start to relax your breath. Just feel it natural but soft. And continue your scan upwards to notice your shoulders, your neck, your jaw, your arms, elbows, fingers, the palms of your hands, the muscles of your face and your forehead. So how does the upper part of your body feel? Do you feel like there's any tension? Have you done a lot of typing or writing? How do your forearms feel? Your wrists? Just notice the parts of your body that have contact with the ground. The ground supports you, so you can just relax any tension from your body. Good, so just one more breath here in our Child's Pose. If you have any equipment, you can start to move it to the side and just slowly start to walk your hands underneath your shoulders. We'll come up to all fours on hands and knees. Good. From here, we'll practice cat and cow. As you inhale, perhaps you come to cow, so stomach relaxes to the mat. And if you'd like to move with your breath, perhaps with cat, round your spine up, look down at your knees, notice your shoulder blades start to open. We'll just do a few more rounds of cat and cow at your own pace. And just waking up the spine, nice movement here. Just to notice if you feel tension, not only in your spine, but also your side body, the back of your neck, your stomach, your chest, even down to your arms and your wrists and your knees. And just feel the movement, soft, long, like your breath. Good. We'll do 2 more rounds of cat and cow. Lovely. And then come to relax in all fours, just a nice neutral spine. And if you reach your right arm out to the side, and then as you inhale, rotate so your arm extends up, and you might look up at your fingers and just notice how that feels in your chest. And as you exhale, slowly lower your arm, and you can start to slide your right fingertips between your left wrist and knee. So just stay wherever that's comfortable. You might come into that deeper by bending your left elbow. You can rest your head on a fist. You can use a block, some folded up blankets or towels, and just stay there for a moment. Relax through the side of your neck, your jaw, your shoulders. And you can start to bring your bottom to your heels, almost like a Child's Pose if that feels nice. But just do the movement that feels comfortable without bringing tension to your shoulder itself. Good. And then we'll slowly uncurl, come back up to all fours. Just notice how the whole right side of your body feels, and then we'll do the same on the other side. So left arm out to the side, just rotate, stop wherever that's comfortable. Maybe your arm extends up towards the ceiling, but wherever it is, just feel the breath open through your chest. Good. And And then exhale, lower down, slide your hands between your right wrist and knee. And again, just find where you'd like to stay here. There's a couple options with your right arm. You can reach it to the front of your mat, or you might even bend your elbow and rest it on your tailbone. And just see where you'd like to turn your head. So you can deepen that rotation by looking up towards the ceiling, but just see what feels comfortable. Good. One more breath here. Lovely. Then we'll place our hands back onto the floor, slowly uncurl back to all fours on hands and knees. We'll come back to child's pose as you bring your bottom to your heels, and then just very slowly start to walk your hands on the floor to one side. Good. And then you can start to see if you'd like to find support for your head with resting it on the ground or on a fist, or if you have a block nearby, you can grab that as well. Just see what feels nice for you, and maybe the arm closer to your center starts to reach further away from your body, or both arms. Let your shoulders be comfortable. You can adjust how much space you have between them. Good. Little side bend here in child's pose. And then we'll slowly uncurl, walk your hands through center and over to the other side. So just at your own pace, notice the range as you come to the opposite side. Bottom comes to your heels, forehead resting. Good. Just coming into that a slightly different direction. Just notice how it feels on your body. Good. And just see if you have a release in your lower back, your rib cage, side of your hip. Lovely. And then when you're ready, slowly uncurl. We'll walk our hands back to center. From here, we'll practice a puppy dog pose. So you might have a cushion or block nearby just in case. But if you keep your knees about the width of your hips, so about 2 fists between them, knees underneath your hip space directly. And so maintain that space, and then very slowly start to walk your hands forward. So you can stop at any point here, and you might bring a cushion or a block if you have one underneath your forehead. You can come into that deeper by continuing to walk your hands forward. You might think about your arms almost like on train tracks from your knees, if that's a comfortable space to rest your arms, but you can make little adjustments to feel more comfortable in your shoulder space, maybe a little bit more space between your hands, or lengthen your hands further to the front of your mat. But there's almost a sense that your tailbone is just relaxing away from you to the space behind you. Maybe that creates a little bit of space, both in your shoulders, but also your lower back. Good. It's called puppy dog pose. And when you're ready, we'll walk our hands back underneath our shoulders, slowly come up. Just set up for downward facing dog next. So tuck your toes, bring your bottom to your heels. Imagine there's a string on your tailbone, and as you exhale, the string draws your tailbone upwards. And just come to your downward facing dog at your own pace. You're welcome to bring a little movement to this by bending one knee at a time, kind of bicycling your legs out. If it feels nice, you can even start to kind of move your hips side to side. See if that lengthens your side body. You can even add a little rotation to your head. Good. Or maybe you like to practice flying dog a little bit, lifting one leg at a time, and you can stay there and hold, or turn your head and look underneath your armpits. Your hip kind of opens out to the side. So lots of little options there. If that becomes intense, you might come back to child's pose or the puppy dog pose we just practiced. So see which one you prefer. Just explore your down dog or child's pose or puppy dog pose, whatever feels nice today. And do you like holding in stillness, or maybe you like to wake up your joints a bit with those movements? Good. And then when you're ready, we'll start to transition now to forward fold or Uttanasana. You can walk your hands to your feet or feet to hands, and just make this your own. Do you like to bend your knees a bit and rest your forearms on your thighs? Or maybe you have a little bit straighter legs and rest your hands anywhere, thighs, shins. Again, if you do have any books or cushions nearby, you can rest your hands on them. Check in with how that feels. Option to turn your head side to side if you have tension at all in your shoulders or neck. Notice where the weight is in your feet. Is it in your right foot more than your left? Is it more towards your toes or the inner side of your foot, outer side of your foot, near your heels? Make little adjustments. Good. And just notice how your upper body feels here. If you want to come into that deeper, you're welcome to bend your elbow and hold on to the opposite forearm, so you can bring your forearms overhead. You can even turn your head side to side here. So just see what feels nice for your body. Just look easing, almost like you're trying to ease the back of your legs, that space behind you. Good. So one more breath here. Little micro bend in your knees, and then slowly draw your navel inward. Come up to standing. Very slowly. Hataplast. Good. When you're upright, you can give your shoulders a little shrug and roll them down your back a few times, and then the other direction. Good. Lovely. And from here, if you bring your arms up overhead
And we'll take a little upper back bend. So you might just turn your gaze to challenge your balance upwards toward your fingers. But you can come into that deeper by bringing your hips forward, then shifting the weight to your heels. And you start to lift your fingers upwards, so your rib cage lifts away from your hip space. Little upper back bend, just to make that your own. But be kind to your lower back, so avoid tension, like a lifting up. Good. One more breath here. When you're ready, gently relax your arms down. You can bring your chin to your chest and just relax here and start to roll just halfway down. So your hands come towards your knees and just stay there for a moment. Turn your head side to side. Good. And then slowly uncurl again. Just check in your feet are comfortable and start to bring your hands behind you. So option 1, you might bend your elbows and rest the back of your hands on your hips. Option 2, maybe you interlace your fingers, stay there. Or option 3, you can start to straighten your arms and you can come into that deeper by rotating your shoulders and lengthening your knuckles towards the floor. Check in with how that feels, releasing tension from your chest. And you can even make that into, again, a little upper back bend by gazing upwards. Maybe your hips come forward and you can start to draw your knuckles towards the floor. But again, be kind to your lower back, so avoiding tension there. Good. Another breath here. Good. So option to keep your arms as they are, or you might transition them to place your hands on your hips. Just come upright, inhale here. Draw your navel inward. As you exhale, sit to chair pose. So lead with your tailbone. Sit, draw it like on that diagonal, like there's an imaginary chair behind you. Check in with how your feet feel. So you can adjust the width. Maybe your knees are tracking about to the center of your foot. It's fine to have your feet out on a little V position if that's more comfortable. And just check in parallel or slightly out to the side. Good. If you want more from here, you can start to straighten your legs, come back to that forward folded position. Just notice how that feels in your body. Good. So you don't have to keep your legs all the way straight, little bend there, but like you're lengthening the back of your legs to the space behind you, and your sitting bones start to lengthen upwards or away from your feet. Good. Then we'll slowly return back to chair. Very slowly, just be kind to your body. Release hold of your fingers, arms next to your ears. Push your feet, hinge upwards. Good little upper back bend again. So weight to your heels, hips forward, gaze upwards, or you might lengthen your fingers up. Good. As you exhale, open your arms out to the side. We'll give everything a little shake. Okay, great. So we're going to practice a little balance next. So if you stand with your feet about the width of your hips, you might have your toes a little bit out to the side, just see what feels more comfortable, or a parallel stance. You're welcome to come near a wall or have a chair nearby for stability and a little bit of, just contact. Okay, so just standing comfortably here. Slowly bring one arm up. So turn your palm away from you. Inhale, bring your arm up. Good, and then as you exhale, turn your palm down towards the floor. Good, and then the other arm. So rotate through your shoulder so your palm turns up to the ceiling. Draw your arm towards your ear, then gently relax down. Good. And then next, on the next breath, turn both palms away from you. So you can start to shift the weight towards the balls of your feet. Lift your heels off the floor. So for a little balance, you can bring your heels down at any time. Good. Stay there, palms touching. You might lengthen your fingertips up. Maybe you feel your arms next to your ears. Good. And then as you exhale, we'll come back down. Lower. Turn your palms to face down. Lower your heels. Good. So we'll do that again. So just start with the same arm. This time you can add the little bounce with the arm lift, just as an option. So that might be just shifting weight to the balls of your feet, or you might start to lift your heels off the floor. And as you lower down, palm turns towards the floor, lower your heels to the ground, but you can stay up in your balance a little bit longer. So other arm, palm turns away from you, rotating through your shoulders, little lift of your heel. Maybe you can feel your side grow as your fingers lengthen up, and exhale, lowering down. Good. Next round, both arms, turn palms up, shift your weight towards the balls of your feet, heels slowly lift, lengthen up. Maybe we'll stay here for a breath or two, but you can come down at any time. Little balance. Good. And then as you exhale, at your own pace, no rush. So if you want to stay in the balance, you can lower your arms first before lowering your heels to the ground, but just do that at your own pace. Good. Lovely. And we'll give everything a little shake here. Okay, great. Next, so if you stand with your feet again, hip width apart, and just lift one heel off the floor and start to rotate through your ankle outwards 3 times and then inwards 3 times. Good. And then we'll do the other side. So shift the weight, other leg, heel lifts, rotate ankle outwards 3 times. So you can keep the ball of your foot on the floor if that's comfortable, and then rotate inward. Okay, great. So feet again, put a space between them, shift the weight over to one leg, opposite knee bends. We're going to do a little balance again. So think about a string drawing your knee upwards. So you can bring your toes down at any time. lift as high as feels comfortable. Maybe if you like the challenge of balance, you can lift your knee higher and start to flex your foot. Good, check in with how that feels. You can bring your arms out to the side to challenge your balance further, but maybe bring them back to your hips at any time. You can bring your arms up overhead. Good. If you want more, you can start to bring your hand, to same arm as leg, to your toes and stay there. So no pressure to do this. If you want to come into that deeper, you might start to lengthen your heel forward. So no pressure to do that again. So come back to any of the options at any time. Good. So one more round of breath here. Arm can be wherever that's comfortable. Lovely. And then when you're ready, if you do have your legs straight, we'll start to bend our knee, lower down. Good, and you can give everything a little shake, or you might do a little rotation through your hip space in either direction. Okay, great. So we'll come, just notice in mountain pose, how do you feel right side to left? Do the other side at your own pace. So your opposite leg will be the standing leg, shift the weight over, knee bends, see where you'd like to have your hands. Maybe there's a little lift of your toes off the floor. You can stay there for a little balance. Rest your hands on the wall. Just if you want more, imagine there's a string drawing your knee straight up. Where would you like your arms to be? Same options. Maybe that hand to foot pose, bringing your fingers to your toe. Option to stay. If you do the hand to foot pose, think about keeping your knee upright towards the ceiling so you can lengthen your heel away from you. Good. And again, wherever your arm's comfortable. Good. Little balance, toes down at any time. Just listen to your body. Good. Lovely. And when you're ready, very slowly lower your legs, lower your heels, give everything a little shake. Okay. So if you stand with your feet a little bit wider than hip distance, you can either place your hands on your hips, or you might like to have cactus arms with your palms facing forward. We'll do a little rotation of our hips. So bringing your hips forward to the side behind you. Good. Just 3 rounds in one direction, and then reversing, going the other direction. Check in with how that feels on your body. Maybe it releases your lower back, your sides, your hip space. Good, the front or back of your hips, or the sides. Good, lovely. So we'll come back to the center. Good, and then we'll come down to the ground through a squat position. So turn your toes out to the side, just check in with where your knees are tracking. Good, and then we'll bend our elbows and place your palms in front of your sternum or your breastbone, your heart space. And just notice for a moment your breath. So as you inhale, your belly fills and it lifts up to your heart space. And as you exhale, it relaxes your breath down. You can relax your feet. Just another round of breath here. Inhaling from navel up to heart. Soften as you exhale down from heart to navel. Relax through your feet. Good. So your next breath starts the same. On your exhalation, just slowly bend your knees. Stop wherever that's comfortable for a little squat. You're welcome to come all the way down to have your elbows rest on the side of your knees. If your heels lift, you can put something underneath that, and if you do have any yoga blocks nearby, sometimes if you'd like a supported variation, you can place your sitting bones on top of your block. You can do that with a little stool. Just see what feels right for you. Okay, great. So one more breath here. Just check in, relax any tension from your jaw. So you might open your jaw a little bit. You can add a little head tilt here if that's comfortable. So your head stays facing forward, and just gently tilt your ear to your shoulder. Back to center, another side. Just check in with how that feels. Just relaxing that whole side of your body. Good. Back up. Good. We'll bring our hands to the floor. If you come back to all fours on your hands and knees. Good. We'll just start, once you're in all fours, just rock forwards and backwards from your hands to your knees. And just notice what happens to the lower part of your back. So maybe there's kind of a tucking under of your tailbone when you rock back towards your heels, and maybe a lengthening of your tailbone when you rock forwards. And you can stay with this so that's comfortable. If you'd like to, you can transition that to a little circle, so coming forward over to one side, behind you, the other side. And that can be quite small if that feels nice, like you're drawing a circle on the ceiling with your tailbone, or you might make that larger so you can feel almost a release through your rib cage, your hips and your lower back, and your shoulders. Good, and then we'll reverse, go the other direction. And just do that at your own pace. Notice where it's nice to look. Check in with your jaw. How does it feel? Your eyes, do they feel relaxed? Good. And then we'll come back up to all fours. Okay, so from here, we're going to come down to lay on our bellies and just set up for kind of a Sphynx pose. If that's uncomfortable, resting your hands, your forehead on the ground, you might place one hand on top of the other to rest your forehead on, or if you have like a little folded up towel, you can rest your forehead there. Okay, So just setting up, if you're comfortable in Sphynx with your forearms on the ground, hands either side of your face, and just relax your forehead on the ground. Let your hips feel heavy. Good. And your knees are pointing towards the floor, your heels up to the ceiling. So keep your hips in contact with the ground. Inhale, lengthen the top of your head forward to the front of your mat, and very slowly start to lift up to Sphynx. So your chest lifts away from the floor. Just lift as high as feels comfortable. We'll come back to this in a moment, and as you exhale, lower slowly down your chest. Good, so do that again at your own pace. Inhale, lengthen the top of your head forward. Just lift as high as feels comfortable, so it doesn't have to be a large movement, but just stop wherever that feels right for you. We'll hold the Sphynx for a moment here. Check in that your shoulders are relaxing, your jaw is soft. Good. And then as you exhale, lower down. Good. So now we're going to keep our forehead in contact with the ground. Again, if it's more comfortable, maybe you rest one hand on top of the other for support for your forehead. Okay? And then just think about your hips and your upper body relaxing to the ground, your chest. Now, you can do this with one leg or both legs. Just slowly start to flex your feet, so this the balls of your feet come towards the floor, and you might lift your legs away from the ground by just lifting up, kind of pushing through your heels. If you want more from there, you can start to lift your legs straight up, so you might prefer to do that with flexed feet or with just relaxed feet or pointed toes, but your heels just lift straight up. So just see where you'd like to be with that. So you can do that with a support or lift your legs straight up. Check in with how that feels. Come down at any time, but you might start to feel that activation in your bottom or your lower back as you lift your legs up. Good. And then as you exhale, very slowly start to lower down. Good. So we're going to do a few more movements here, but just to take a little break for our back, if you reach your arms overhead, and just start to imagine your toes are trying to reach away to the wall behind you, and your fingers are lengthening to the wall in front. And just feel that creates space in your lower back. Good. Lovely. So we'll set up again for our Sphynx pose. Again, either hands either side of your face or forehead resting on the back of your hands. Once you're in position, let your hips feel relaxed. Inhale, lengthen the top of your head up, chest lifts away from the floor. Lift as high as feels comfortable. We'll stay here for a few breaths in our Sphynx pose. If you want to come into this deeper, you might lift your legs straight up. If you want more from there, you can hover your hands off the floor. So again, come in and out of this when it feels right for you. If you want more from here, you can reach your arms overhead. So just listen to your body. No pressure to come into that deeply. Good. Just explore Sphynx or variations of locust. Good. One more breath here. Lovely. And then when you're ready, very slowly relax arms, relax legs, relax your forehead down, and take another full body stretch facing down. So reach your arms overhead. Start to breathe here. Long spine, like you're creating space in your lower back. Every vertebrae, breathe into it and create length. Your toes reach to the space behind you. Good. One more breath here. And then we'll bend our elbows. Place your hands either side of your chest. Push up through all fours. And come to child's pose again. If you have tension in your lower back, it's quite nice to widen the space between your knees and have your toes come towards each other before slowly bringing your bottom to your heels. And you can very slowly let your upper body start to relax down. So stop wherever that's comfortable. Again, you might walk your hands forward and rest your forehead on the ground. And just let your shoulders feel comfortable. So you can either reach them forward, about shoulder width, to the front of your mat, or you might have them kind of at diagonals from your body, or have your elbows bent to rest your forearms down. So see what feels nice for you. Option to wiggle your hips side to side. Okay, great. So when you're ready, we'll very slowly start to walk our hands back underneath your shoulders and then uncurl your spine to come up to a kneeling position. Okay, so we're going to practice little variations of camel pose here. I've got some equipment nearby just to give you some options, but just to set up so your shoulders are over your hips and just kind of feel like your hips are just slowly lengthening forward. Good, and your head is just relaxed, nestled at the top of your spine. Good, so we'll start to bring our arms up overhead and just stay there when your hands are comfortably overhead. It's almost like you're kind of touching the ceiling or trying to touch the ceiling with your fingers. Almost there, and then your rib cage lifts away from your hips. And just see if that's comfortable. If you'd like to, you can add a rotation by bringing your arms behind you, and maybe you start to bend your elbows and rest your hands on your bottom or lift them up to your lower back. So you can notice how my hips are still above my knees here. Good, so if you want to come into that deeper, you can start to gaze upward, like your breastbone is just kind of lengthening upwards behind your lower back. Any tension at any time, you can bring your chin back towards your chest. If you you want to come into that deeper, you can tuck your toes under, maybe start to lengthen your hands towards your heels. Here again, if you do have yoga blocks nearby, you can alternatively rest your hands on those yoga blocks either side of you or place them between your feet if that's comfortable. Good. So just to show, if you do want to come deeper, be kind to your lower back. You can flatten your feet and start to lengthen your hands towards your heels. But just notice how my hips stay facing forward, so it's not, my bottom's not coming towards my heels at all. Good. So another option. So stay in that if that's comfortable. Just want to give you guys a couple options for support. So if you happen to have a yoga bolster, you can place that on top of your heels and relax back. But you can do the same with a folded up blanket or some pillows resting on your heels here, like that. Okay, so just make that your own. I don't want you to hold it for too long, so come out when it feels right for your body. Just wanted to show you, if you have some things nearby, how to support that. Okay, so when you're ready, we'll start to bring chin back to chest. Rotate through your arms. Slowly relax the tops of your feet, bottom to your heels. Back to our child's pose again. Maybe we have wider knees with that before you slowly come down. And just progress down to your child's pose. You might bring your toes towards each other. Let your knees feel wide. And just come to allow your upper body to rest wherever that's comfortable. Again, any support for your chest or your forehead. Just see what feels nice. Just thinking about supporting your body so that you can have the most release through your lower back, your hips. Good. One more breath here. Lovely. And then when you're ready, just very slowly walk your hands back. Slide up. Come through all fours again on your hands and knees. Good. And if you come to lay on your back with your knees bent. Good. And when you lay back, you're welcome to place cushions or a folded up blanket under your head if that's more comfortable. We'll bring our one knee to your chest or one thigh towards your stomach. Hold here. And it's comfortable to hold behind your thigh or your shin. But relax your hips evenly into the ground so it feels like you're kind of lifting up against gravity. And you soften through your touching points through your foot, your hips, your shoulders, the back of your head. Good, just stay there for a moment. And then we'll just bring a little circling out to that thigh. So you can imagine you have a pencil on your knee and you're drawing circles and just go in either directions. Just see what feels nice for you and how fast or slow would you like to do that. Good, again, so just notice what feels nice, the range that feels nice. And think about the shape that you're drawing on the ceiling. Is it kind of a perfect circle? Do you feel it's a slightly more oval? And just notice why that might be. Perhaps we just hold our body in different, we kind of absorb different situations in our body and our muscles from our activities. Good. And then when you're ready, come back to stillness. Draw your thigh back towards your stomach. Flex your foot. And just think about lengthening your legs straight from your hip space. So just lengthen your heel away from you wherever that's comfortable. If you do have like a strap nearby or your bathrobe or a towel, you can place that around the bottom of your foot to hold on to. Good, so just stay there for a moment, flexing your foot, relax again through your hips, your shoulders. Option to bring a little circling here to your ankle if that feels like it would be nice. Sometimes it's a nice way to kind of relax your calf muscles as well as your shins. Particularly nice if you do a lot of standing or running. Good. And then when you're ready, we'll draw our thigh towards our stomach again. Hold wherever that's comfortable. Option here to bring your forehead up towards your knees, just if that feels nice. And then relax your upper body down. We'll do another lengthening of our legs. So flex your foot, lengthen your heel away from you, support wherever that's comfortable. Maybe that strap or towel. You can also bring that circling. Another option is to flex your foot and kind of turn the sole of your foot towards your center and then turn the sole of your foot away. So you can feel, if you take that option, how that kind of just reaches different parts of your lower leg. Good. Lovely. And then to come out, you can either bend your knee and place your foot on the floor, or you might open your arms out to the side, flex your foot, and just with control, imagine you're trying to lengthen your heel away from you. Just do that at your own pace. Good. And then we'll do the other leg. So thigh towards your stomach. Maybe you've had a little lift here. Option to relax upper body down, circle your thigh either direction. Notice how that feels. Good. Then back to center. Flex your foot, lengthen your heel away from you. Notice where that's comfortable. Maybe there's a circling of your ankle in either direction. Good. And then we'll bend our knee, thigh towards your stomach. You're gonna add that little lift of your forehead towards your knee. Relax upper body down, flex your foot. Again, lengthen here. Option to circle, option to flex your foot and turn the bottom of your foot towards your center and then away from your body. See what feels nice for you. Good. And then to come down, maybe you bend your knee or flex your foot, lengthen your heel. Just keep your hips level. Like your heel's trying to reach away from your body. Good. Really nice. And then when you're ready, just make any final stretch that feels comfortable for you. You can windshield wiper your knees, take a full body stretch, and just come to a comfortable position for a few moments to rest. And just notice your breath, notice the rise and fall of your breath, and feel all the points where you touch the ground. And you might start to imagine that you can breathe into your back body, so you relax through the back of your head, your shoulders, your arms, your feet. And imagine that your breath expands your body to that space behind you, like you could breathe not only into the mat, but beyond the mat. And just stay here for a few more moments, just resting, reflecting on how the movement of your body through space, your practice of yoga can help you connect with not only your body, but your breath, your limbs, your mind, and how that integration might feel and have repercussions or ripples for the rest of your day with your interactions. So thank you for coming to practice with me today. You're welcome to stay longer in your relaxation, but I'll leave you here. Feel free to check out the other videos we have on Sphynx Sport on the Facebook page or on YouTube. Send over any questions through Messenger to us if you have any questions. Thank you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Goodbye.